today worldwide.
In today's world.
Today's world.
You have said Mohammed cannot set any kind of moral example for the 21st century.
He cannot. He cannot. A person who was waging wars, who was living from waging wars. Muhammad, as he started to be a prophet, since he started to say that he's a prophet, didn't have a job. His money was coming from wars, from selling slaves.
Before that, he had been a merchant.
He had been a merchant until he became a prophet. Then it became his job to be a prophet and then to be a warrior. And he and his community were living from wars, were living from the tax that he was imposing on unbelievers. He was living from assaulting the tribes' caravans moving between Mecca and Syria. I cannot consider a person to be a role model who was married to 9 women at the same time. I cannot have a person as a role model who was executing hundreds of war prisoners who surrendered to him in the same day. I cannot have somebody as a role model who married a 6-year-old girl while he was over 50 years old.
You clearly believe that Islam in the 21st century needs to be reformed, needs to be modernized. Will it be modernized?
I don't believe Islam can reform itself. I don't believe in the reformability of Islam. I believe in the reformability of the thinking of Muslims. That's how it is. You cannot screw the Quran until it will fit to our time, but you can convince people that these verses of the Quran, the good ones and the bad ones, are to be read in the context of the 7th century. Before doing that, we have to forget the idea that Quran is the last word of God sent to the human beings. This is the serious problem of the Quran, not what is written in the Quran, but the position of the Quran in our today's society. Just like Muhammad, is not what he said or did back then, but the power he is having today as a role model. And if we can put those 2 things aside, Muhammad and the Quran, to bury them back into the age they belong to, then we can talk about the reformability of thinking. Then we can interpret the verses in a modern way. But as long as they are from God, who am I, who are you, to come and screw and correct God?
This is the big question. Of course, for many people, many Muslims around the world, for millions and millions of Muslims, Muhammad is a role model in the 21st century. And included in that number are the many millions of Muslims living here in Germany. Angela Merkel at the beginning of the year came out and made a statement. She said, Islam belongs to Germany. And you came out in response to that and you said, Frau Merkel, you've got it wrong. I mean, Angela Merkel, all she was doing was saying to Muslims in Germany, you are part of our society, you are welcome in this society with your religion. What's wrong with that?
It wouldn't have been wrong if she said Muslims are part of Germany. I'm a Democrat and I believe in the freedom of belief. Everyone can practice his religion the way he wishes, but there is a problem when you identify Muslims with Islam one-to-one. Because when Frau Merkel is saying Islam is a part of Germany, so is Sharia, or can Sharia be a part of Germany? Sharia is a part of Islam. Muhammad is the core of Islam. Is Muhammad part of Germany after all what we know about him? His wars, the way he was dealing with women, and the way he was dealing with unbelievers.